This is Global Military. For the latest in-depth defense analysis, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Deep inside Russian territory, this sprawling oil refinery operates around the clock. It's a critical node in Moscow's war economy.
But tonight, it is a target. Ukrainian long-range attack drones are inbound, slipping past sophisticated air defense networks.
The drone's operators are hunting for a critical component. They don't want a random strike. They want a crippling blow to production. They lock onto the primary distillation unit. A successful hit here could halt the entire facility for months.
Impact. The first drone strikes its target, delivering its explosive payload with precision.
The resulting explosion is immediate, rupturing the tower and igniting the highly flammable chemicals and fuel inside.
But this wasn't a single strike. As the first fire raged, then this happened. The attack was a coordinated swarm.
The second drone lines up its attack run, aiming for the refinery's main fuel storage tanks to start a secondary, larger fire.
Suddenly, the facility's air defenses come alive, filling the air with tracer fire. But it's far too late.
The second impact. This hit ignites a fuel depot, triggering a catastrophic chain reaction across the complex.
Footage from workers on the ground shows the scale of the disaster. The fire begins to spread uncontrollably.
Official battle damage assessment footage confirms the two primary targets are completely engulfed. The facility is non-operational.
When dawn broke, the full extent of the damage became clear. But the real story is what happened next.
This strike wasn't just about destroying fuel. It was a strategic message, and it triggered an immediate panic in the Kremlin.
To understand what happened next, you must understand the target. The drones hit the atmospheric distillation units, the heart of the refinery.
This isn't a simple tank. This unit is complex, foreign-made, and almost impossible to replace under current sanctions.
What happened next was immediate. Within 48 hours, panic buying began. Domestic gasoline prices in Russia surged.
The Kremlin was forced to act. They immediately banned all gasoline exports, a desperate move to protect their own domestic supply. This export ban sent a shockwave through the global market. Key buyers were suddenly cut off from their Russian fuel supplies. Then, the unbelievable happened. Russia, one of the world's largest oil producers, was forced to start importing gasoline from neighboring Belarus.
The damage wasn't just in Russia. A major gas plant in Kazakhstan had to halt operations, as it
This level of success raises a new question. How? Sources now suggest these drones are using a form of machine vision, or AI,
to guide their final approach. This makes them immune to Russian electronic jamming, which was supposed to make these attacks impossible.
Russia's reaction was panicked. They began pulling frontline air defense systems, like the Pantsir, to try and guard these dozens of refineries.
But this is a losing game. They don't have enough. Every system moved to a refinery is one less system protecting their troops on the front line.
The psychological impact is also severe. The message to the Russian people is clear.
But the domestic panic in Russia was only the first consequence. The second happened here, in Washington, D.C.
Washington was officially worried, not about the strikes themselves, but that the attacks on refineries would spike global oil prices.
In an extraordinary move, the White House privately urged Kyiv to stop the refinery attacks, fearing political fallout from high gas prices.
Ukraine's response? They escalated.
And the data is shocking. The drone campaign has been more effective at cutting Russia's oil revenue than many of the international sanctions. Then, the real story emerged. Washington saw the strikes were working. The US quietly reversed its position.
This support led directly to the recent White House meeting. Ukraine's message: the drones work. Now give us Tomahawks to finish the job. This support led directly to the recent White House meeting. Ukraine's message: the drones work. Now give us Tomahawks to finish the job.
But the request for long-range missiles has terrified the Kremlin. And Washington is now split on this dangerous escalation.
This is the ultimate this happened. A simple fuel crisis, a U.S. policy reversal.
The Tomahawk missile is the key. With a range of over 1,500 kilometers, it represents a massive escalation from the current drone fleet.
Russia's reaction to just the request was furious. The foreign ministry warned that sending these missiles would cause irreparable damage to relations.
But this is why the original drone strategy is so brilliant. It creates a win-win. Either Ukraine gets Tomahawks, or Washington says no, forcing Ukraine to rely on its own drone fleet, which is now proven to be devastatingly effective.
And the strategy is expanding. The same drones are now hitting ammunition depots, logistics hubs, and even long-range bomber air bases.
Russia's new, desperate defense is to hunt the drones with helicopters. But this is extremely inefficient and costly.
Ukraine can build thousands of these cheap drones. Russia cannot afford to fly helicopter sorties to stop every single one.
So this is what happened. A single refinery strike has now become a full-scale economic air campaign. It has triggered a domestic fuel crisis, forced a US policy reversal, and proven that Russia's deep rear is completely vulnerable.
But the drone's impact didn't stop in Washington or Moscow. The next what happened was in Brussels. NATO allies are now in a panic.
They've realized that using $1 million missile to shoot down a $10,000 drone is a losing strategy. It is not sustainable.
It's a complete role reversal. The EU is now asking Ukraine for its expertise on how to defeat the very type of warfare it pioneered. But the most damaging what happened is the long-term economic bleed. Russia can repair these refineries, but it takes months.
The moment a facility comes back online, a new wave of drones is sent. It's a permanent campaign to keep Russia's oil output offline.
Analysts estimate this strategy has already cut Russia's refining capacity by over 17%, wiping out billions in war revenue. From a single strike, this one weapon has changed everything. It has created a fuel crisis, a political... The only question left is, what happens next when these drones become faster, stealthier, and jet-powered?
This economic war have a direct battlefield cost. Reports from the front line confirm that Russian mechanized units are facing diesel shortages.
It's a brilliant two-pronged assault. The strikes cut off export cash to fund the war, and cut off the diesel needed to fight the war. Russia's primary countermove wasn't just helicopters, but advanced electronic warfare, or EW. They deployed their best systems. But again, this failed. The newest drones don't rely on GPS. They use AI-powered machine vision to find...
The refinery attacks were just the beginning. The real "then this happened" was Operation Spiderweb,
But these drones weren't launched from Ukraine. They were smuggled inside Russia and launched by operatives from just miles away.
Air defenses were pointed out toward Ukraine, not in. The small FPV drones hit over 40 aircraft, including strategic bombers.
The lesson is clear. From refineries to air bases, no part of Russia is safe. The entire country is now a potential combat zone.
And the final what happened is a lesson for the entire world. This changes everything for all modern militaries.
It's the triumph of asymmetric warfare. Cheap, expendable, AI-guided weapons